What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining me on another great adventure. And this is like the greatest adventure in the history of all adventures. I'm on the road right now. I've got the amazing Nancy Frye to my side, and we are headed out to the Path of Totality. And we're at the very beginning of our adventures. So it's rainy here in the eastern part of Oregon, and we are en route to Pendleton. And it's really special because I have a friend out there who was able to hook us up with a stay at the Pendleton House Historic Inn. And if anybody's familiar with it, I bet you know how cool it is. I know how cool it is because my friend used to own it and told us so many stories about this house. He has since sold it to some new owners, and they're doing a fantastic job with hosting all the people who come through and get to stay there. And I guess also hosting the ghosts who live there. So, my homie who used to own it, he told us he's a camping friend. So he would come into camp, and around the campfire at nighttime, he would tell us the craziest ghost stories of working and living and being at this house. It's a Victorian mansion. I don't know if it's a mansion. I've been calling it a mansion. It's a mansion to me, that's for sure.
It's a mansion.
It's a mansion. It's got like 5 rooms. I don't know where the ballroom is, but maybe we can find it.
You don't know.
But yeah, it has a history, and there are some permanent residents in the residence who have made themselves known over and over and over again to people who are coming through, and then also to my friend's family. So I have heard from my friend that the new owners just absolutely love talking about all the ghosty things that happen, and hopefully we can get some of those stories told and shared with you. So this is the beginning of 10 days on the road, headed to the Path of Totality, and thanks for joining. I'll see you soon. All right, well, we have made it to our first destination of this glorious adventure. We are at the Pendleton House Historic Inn, bed and breakfast. And if anyone is coming through Pendleton, check it out, because this place is gorgeous. And it's absolutely amazing. And on point with all of this glorious furniture and accoutrements and beautiful stuff. Say hi there. Here we go. Here's Nancy Frye. She is my traveling companion, and we are running around all over the country. And we're going to have a lot of fun.
Yes, we are.
And maybe have some ghosty activity tonight. We don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see. The plan is to stay here for the evening and get up pretty early and hit the road and keep on traveling. But check out just like all this amazing photography. Look at that. Pendleton. Historic Pendleton. Very cool. We are upstairs, up those glorious stairs. Look at that chandelier. It's just so pretty. I don't know where to look, because everywhere I look, it's just so pretty.
Show them the ceiling medallions.
Oh yeah, check this out. Look at that. Boom. Just gorgeous. Chandeliers everywhere. Candelabras, and a Keurig if you need some coffee.
It's too hard. You have to be a physicist to operate.
It's a physicist only Keurig. Check this out. This is neat. So when my friends owned this place before the current owners own it, or have owned it, when they owned it, they were doing some renovation in the walls, and they found all these old bottles of whiskey. So this says, oh, it's Comet whiskey. That's fun because there's going to be a comet during this eclipse as well. So they found all these guys in the walls, and who knows what the price range is for one of these vintage bottles of whiskey. But they are here hanging out, and you can check out all the history of this house and of this beautiful city. It's my first time coming to Pendleton. I've only driven through, but I like it. This is my kind of town. So I'm going to sit on one of these glorious chairs and take it easy and hopefully get to sleep pretty soon because it's going to be an early morning. It's going to be a long day, and I'm super excited about it. See you guys soon. Bye. Here we go.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
Welcome to the Pendleton House.
Welcome to the Pendleton House. I am so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you for coming.
We're
glad to have you.
I am so excited to be here.
I'm so glad.
I've heard so much from Tracy, and being here is a joy.
Good deal. That's what we like to hear. We really don't like when people walk in and go, ooh.
Well, I don't know how
Not
they
that
could.
that's ever happened, but only one time when some guy didn't like the state of the yard.
Well, he can
In
go
July,
somewhere
when
else.
it was 110 degrees. I didn't really know what I was supposed to do. But yeah, it's a great house, isn't it? I don't take any credit for it. I'm just the caretaker at this point.
Beautiful.
But it is amazing, isn't it? And I always look at the ceiling just because it's so
Oh, yeah.
gorgeous in here.
They don't make it like they used to.
No.
Simple.
I
Simple.
don't think mostly people made them like this generally.
Right. Yeah. It's just it's art. It's what's the music? Music is architecture in motion, and architecture is music stilled.
What a great phrase. I've never heard that before.
I did not say it. I think it was like
No,
Leonardo
but
da Vinci or
it's
something.
Fantastic. Wow, that escaped me. Yeah, I would say that that's pretty valid here, especially. Yeah, it's a work of art.
It truly is, and I'm just so appreciative for being here.
And
so
I get to
thank
live
you.
in it, which is
You
pretty
do?
cool.
Do you have any ghosty activity here as well?
Yes, we do. We absolutely do. Nothing. How horrible do I look on camera?
Oh,
you can
you're
see
good.
I've been writing contracts all day. We do. Nothing negative, really. I've had a few encounters with someone or something that inhabits the downstairs that have led me to get to a point of enough.
Sure. Boundaries.
Behave.
Boundaries.
Yeah. I had a pile of wood dropped on me, which was kind of bizarre. In the hallway where this house extends much further back.
Yes.
Especially downstairs. So the footprint of the house isn't the same downstairs as it is up.
Yes.
So downstairs extends out probably
Whoa.
another 50 feet in different places. So when you walk down the hall past the back of the elevator downstairs, there's a long hall, and there was wood stacked up there on this ledge where the elevator equipment was. And I was walking down that hall one day, and it all came down on me. It all just came down.
Wow.
It bounced off my leg.
No reason.
No reason. And I turned and I looked at that, and I thought, that has been sitting there for ever.
Yeah.
It had dust on it that
Oh,
thick. It had not been
boy.
moved. It wasn't like recently stacked or put there, and that came down. Is this the kind of stuff you want me to talk about?
Yes.
Okay. Another time in the laundry room, which is over on this side underneath Mr. Rodgers' library, I had hung the sheets on a rack so that they would finish up drying. And
Sure.
we had guests coming in, so I didn't want to fold them up just to put them back on the bed. So took them out of the dryer, hung them up, went back into the room. The rack was on the ground, and the sheets looked like someone had had a temper tantrum and thrown them all over the room. So I came upstairs to Jack, and I was like, what the hell is going on here? If you're upset about something, don't take it out on the laundry. You know how much time it takes to do this.
That's Lynn.
And he looked at me like this. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Comes downstairs, and we go in, and he just said, holy,
Ooh.
what is going on here? So those are the kind of two negative things.
Yeah.
At which point I had a little conversation. Look,
Yeah.
this is my house now. It's the year 2022. It was then.
Yeah.
And we're not doing this. So you behave or not. Then we have the great kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we will get a waft of Evening in Paris perfume. I don't know if you're familiar with Evening in Paris.
I'm not.
It was a perfume that ladies and women wore a lot at the early part of the last century.
Okay.
Nothing smells like Evening in Paris, but Evening in Paris. You can tell. Evening in Paris. If you're going through an antique store or something, you might see a little jar. Open it up and you'll smell it and you'll know immediately what I'm talking about. We will get wafts of it.
Ooh, yeah.
Out of nowhere.
Interesting.
You're going,
So that goes along with Sasquatch activity too.
Yeah.
Because they can imprint smell on us. And it's not just, a nasty smell like, oh, it's a dirty, body or something, but they can bring out jasmine and mint and blueberry pie.
That's really interesting.
In the middle of the forest.
The other one we get here is cigars.
Yeah.
And we have had multiple guests of the house also. So here's the reality check. Say, we don't want to be crabby or anything. But,
you can't smoke here.
But, someone was smoking a cigar in the house last night. And we always think, no, actually nobody was smoking a cigar. Or at least no one we can see was smoking a cigar. Because, we do allow people to, partake on the porch
outside.
or outside. But and nothing smells like somebody smoking a cigar, but smoking a cigar.
Yeah.
And it'll come through real, well, I want to say loud and clear. That's not the right word, right? But you go, somebody's smoking a cigar.
Wow.
And we will look at each other. It's only the two of us here, so we're all after just cigars. And footsteps, lots of footsteps.
Lots of footsteps.
So we will sometimes be down here, and you can clearly hear someone walking. Because, it's an old house. It creaks. You can hear footsteps and go, oh, okay. To the point we have actually gotten up and gone upstairs to think.
Make sure.
Has somebody
lurked
in here? Did somebody, was somebody hiding in the attic from an event or something? Because it's so clear. The weird thing about that is the dogs don't react. So the footsteps will be going back and forth. And the dogs are like, well, whatever. Yeah. And we have one of our dogs will always look in this corner of this room, right here. And he talks to and interacts with something up there all the time.
Interesting.
And he's happy and friendly and, not freaked out, but he's clearly talking to something there.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. So that's, it's
good
busy.
stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
You always have guests.
We do. We call them the guests we cannot see.
Mm-hmm. It's a good thing that they don't mess up the sheets, so you don't have to continuously.
My fate. That's still the thing that just ticked me off because it was. I'd probably done 7 sets of sheets, and we're picky about how we do.
Sure, you got to do it right.
And I go through a whole process. I call it curated luxury. So I rinse them with an essential oil.
Ooh.
So I dry them in a specific way. I hang them so that because one of your expectations in a luxury lodging experience is the bedding, right?
Absolutely.
So, I don't like them to smell bad. And we go through them all the time. And you'd be amazed at the stuff people do to sheets. And I'm not talking something ooky, but I'm like, what did you do? Just write all over them with a ballpoint pen? I don't get it. You just
Why is there red wine spilled inside the bed?
in a pillowcase. Yes, exactly.
And my favorite,
how does that happen?
Working at a place like this, the people who leave the throw pillows on the bed and put their greasy darn heads on them.
Did you see my eyes go like that?
Yeah, I saw the twitch. The twitch was happening. Yeah.
And one of the things we always want is people to understand it's their house while they're here, but then treat it like your house.
Well, yeah.
Do you sit in the bed and write with magic marker on your sheets? For God's sake.
5?
Exactly.
I just can't get over these ceilings.
Aren't they incredible?
I love this cove ceiling. I don't know if it's technically a cove ceiling.
It is. It's called a half barrel ceiling.
Okay, it's
actually.
It's a barrel. Okay.
And what I would really love to know about it from some point was, and of course, the 19 teens, we have no color pictures, and there's nobody left alive that remembers.
Oh, were the details?
Yes, I wondered if the details were painted.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Because this is kind of a Baroque thing,
right?
And if you look at the Versailles and French places like that, they gilt everything,
right?
So if they had really gone whole hog, they might have gilt it, but not painted it.
Yeah, I wonder.
But the voids in between, that there are wallpaper companies that are reproducing. Have you looked at Bradbury and Bradbury's catalog?
No. I'm
Oh.
going to make a note. Do you mind if I go grab a pen? 'Cause
Go
I want
for
to make
it.
a note. Because the
Because
upstairs.
they make reproduction wallpapers and ceiling papers for places built in this
Now,
era.
See, I'm going to also tell you an interesting thing about this house. Just for the fun of it. I'm going to get myself a piece of paper here. Oh, my other pen has left. That's
I didn't do it.
but it's so cute. It's a Scotty dog pen.
Aww.
Is that the dogs you have? You got Scotty dogs?
Yes.
Perfect.
I can't capture the ceilings in a picture with this lens.
And isn't this is the way it always goes for me too, by the way. I never have a pen or a piece of paper when
Well, I have a pen
No, I've got
upstairs.
one.
I found one.
I've got a pen. We have pens everywhere here, but can I ever put my hand on them? No. So it's Bradbury and
Bradbury and Bradbury. They're in Benicia, California, and they have like this wallpaper set in here, which is gorgeous with the frieze panel and the borders. They have stuff like that. Do you want William Morris style? Do you want
nice. Okay.
Do you want arts and crafts? Well, that's William Morris. Do you want
Sure.
Japanesque? Do you want neoclassical? And
I'm
they're
so
all
excited that
they're
you
all
told me this.
copies of original
So
wallpapers.
glad you told me
And what they did was they took the original wallpaper samples and they color corrected them a little bit because they were all designed to look good with gaslight,
right.
which is a whole different
Oh,
ball
different
game.
yeah,
ballgame.
yeah.
And if
Yeah.
you just put that up on your wall, you'd be like, ew.
This is not.
It's garish. So they've adjusted it for incandescent.
And you know, interestingly, when you say that, because you notice the
yeah.
I don't know what we call this freeze in here.
Yeah.
I did not even know this existed at all.
What, was there something
My-
over it?
No.
Oh.
But it was,
You
you know, I was in here, whatever.
Yeah.
I saw that stuff, but I had no idea that there was
The jackalope is perfect.
the actual scene here. My friend Amy came to visit me from Denver, and she stayed here a couple days, and she was just in love with it, and so she convinced me, let's do a project while I'm here. I want to do a project, and I said, you're nuts. She said, no, because then I will feel like I have some ownership and I've contributed something to this process, and I would love to. What can we do? What can we do? Can we change out hardware? Can we fix something? I'm dying to do it. And she said, I'm so sick of doing it at my own house, I could die. So we decided to paint this hallway, which was this really kind of oogie. It was a pink, but I hated it.
Yeah.
Everybody, we all hate it.
Puke pink.
Yeah. And so we
Baby
did that,
bath
and we
pink.
get out the, we got out the ladders, and Amy was the master taper, and we had a great time. And when we got done painting this blue, we came in here and turned on the lights and went, holy crap, there's a scene in this wallpaper. Something about the change in the light and the color over here made it just come out.
Huh.
And I think it's because it's got so much blue or green in it. And we, all three of us, Jack and I and Amy, were sitting here just looking like, was this here before? was this
It's that
scene here
magic color
before?
change wallpaper.
Yeah. And I keep hoping that someone will walk through and we'll be able to do some restoration on it. I'm not going to touch it. I mean, you can touch it. But
It's
I mean,
in really good shape.
it is, and it
needs a clean.
needs a
And
clean
there's going to be a way to do it.
because Mr. Rodgers sat in this room. I don't know if Jack told you
Oh,
about the history
smoked.
of this room, and smoked cigars.
Okay.
Which is where we get.
That's
the
where you're
cigar
getting the smell.
But
Think
paint-
about all the oil painting restorations. Now,
Yeah,
this
exactly.
is not as robust as an oil painting.
Right, so it needs to be
But-
cleaned, but it's beyond
Very-
my knowledge. But I know someone will show up because.
Well, talk to the people at Bradbury and Bradbury.
I will also tell you because of this. This house has this weird way.
Bringing
You're gonna think
people
I'm-
in.
Yes, I'm
Oh,
loopy
yeah.
here, but it brings people to here that it needs or we need. It is
Oh,
the
yeah.
damnedest thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, really? You worked in wood restoration for 50 years before you retired. It's just incredible. Yeah, I mean, people who know specific things about what to do, or, oh, the binding on your rug came loose, but I dealt with rugs.
Oh.
I was a rug dealer for 48 years, and I did a lot of work in Turkey. Do you have a little needle? Because I can fix
I
this
can
for
just
you
whip
right
that
now.
back
Yeah,
together.
it's like that, and we just go, did that really just happen? And all sorts of stuff like that go on here too. Ghostly stuff like that. things come back to the house, which is so weird. It's so weird. So that picture, no, let me show you. This is so that picture that hangs in our dining.
Oh,
This picture here, okay, was a picture from a newspaper.
Oh.
And the original printing block for that picture is right here in our little mini museum here.
Oh, well, what do you know?
So guests of the house who were from Cape May, New Jersey. That is a whole long way on the other side of the country.
kind of on
right?
the other side of the
So they leave, they're done with their vacation, they're in Cape May, they go for the weekend, they're poking through an antique store, and the wife of the couple, was it the wife or the husband? The husband picks that up in Cape May, New Jersey.
New Jersey.
And he says,
That looks familiar.
Tilda, or whatever her name was, isn't this the Pendleton House? And she's like, Henry, get over yourself. You just got Pendleton House on the brain.
There's tons of those houses.
And I guess he walked up to her and like literally put it right in her face. He said, tell me, this is not the Pendleton House. And she said, well, I'll be damned. So they bought it and sent it.
Wow.
And here it is now.
That's so cool.
Second week I was here, I went to the Historical Society thrift store. And I buy an old office chair, the wood office chair.
Oh my goodness.
I say, yeah, how much you want for the chair? She's like, $12. Whatever. Because they're not in it for screwing people over. I'm like, oh, this is so cool because it looks so much like this. So fast forward, like 4 months, we had the chair in there then before we had the refrigerators. And we have a guest and he said, this room is so fantastic and this wood is just amazing and it's in such good shape and I can't believe you have the chair. And I said, oh no, I don't have the chair. I bought it, but it does look good in here, right? And he said, Will, this is the chair. And he said, I'll tell you how I know. And he went through and he followed the veins of the wood of the room onto the chair. I mean, he told me, you see where this vein...
Oh, they used the same wood to make the chair as to do the paneling?
He said, you see where this wood... Can you follow the grain of this? I said, yeah, you see how it goes up and down? He's like, okay, keep that in your mind. Walk right over here. Do you see how that grain goes onto the... I said, no way. He's like, let's pick it up. We picked it up, put it right up there, and you could tell. It was just part of the same thing.
That's awesome.
Now, my favorite story, if I'm not boring, am I boring you to
No.
death? Okay.
No.
So upstairs, there are pictures at the end of the hall. There's two, they're
Yes,
hung
I saw them.
vertically
I took, yeah.
of a man and a woman.
Nice
right?
mustache.
Yes, exactly. So Tracy had those, and those came from the previous owner of the house, Sandy Parker.
Mm-hmm.
And they were hanging there, and he got to telling people, oh, that's Mr. and Mrs. Rodgers. He totally made it up.
Mm-hmm.
Completely made it up. And, so he talked to Sandy at some point, and she said, I just bought those at a flea market in Portland because I thought something needed to go there, and they were old style, and blah, 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 blah. Okay. But he continued to tell people this because it made a great story, right?
Sure.
Why not?
So then the Rodgers family comes for a family reunion, and they rent the entire house.
Oh, wow.
And the oldest lady, who is the granddaughter of the Rodgers, and so she's old by this point, she says, I think it is so lovely that you keep pictures of my grandparents in their house. And so Tracy's like, oh my God, I'm so totally caught, He said, well, here's the thing. Those are just period appropriate but old pictures, and they were found in a flea market in Portland.
Yeah.
And that's
And
not your
she's like,
grandparents.
no.
And she said, young man, those are my grandparents. And she picks up her big old photo book, right? Flips to the middle of it, and the cabinet versions of those pictures.
Oh.
Remember the cabinet where they had the small of those portraits are there, and it's the same pictures. So it's them, and they came back.
They came back.
And,
They're still here.
Oh yeah.
They're
totally.
still here.
It's like me with cats. They just show up. And then I have no cats.
Well, I personally believe that spirits send you an animal that belongs with you at the right time, and some of us I firmly believe that.
Absolutely.
I really do.
They come, they find us.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I had more than one where one look at you and it's like, oh, you're my dog. And you're my dog and I'm your person. Okay, got it. Yeah. And Jack goes, oh God. Exactly.
And then we have a big happy family of 50 dogs in a beautiful home.
Yeah.
Not 50.
That's a lot.
I could totally be that guy.
That just became a Disney movie.
I could easily be that guy. So, and thank God I'm allergic to cats, or I'd have 10 cats.
The cats would be doing the laundry.
Yeah,
Did
seriously.
you already ask the Scotty dog question?
Yes, they are the Scotty
They
dogs.
had Scotties.
Oh,
Yeah.
we have
Oh,
Scotties.
you have Scotties.
No, the Rodgers had poodles.
Oh, okay.
And Mrs. Rodgers, now, I love
Standard
Mrs.
poodles?
Rodgers. No, miniature poodles.
Okay.
Not teeny tiny ones like us, but miniatures. They're like 12 to 17 pounds. I've had
Yeah.
miniature poodles. This is why I know.
Okay.
I'm kind of in love with Mrs. Rodgers from, 80 years on. First of all, because thank you for the house.
Yeah.
I mean, not that it was a gift, but thank you for doing this. But Mrs. Rodgers, the story is, are you ready for this? Because the sign outside says it's the L.L. Rodgers residence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bite me. This is not the L.L. Rodgers residence. This is the mini Rodgers residence. Because the Rodgers made a lot of money. Did Jack cover any of this with you? Or did you know all this?
We don't know any.
If you know any of this,
where did
if
they
you know
have-
any of this, just go, yeah, we know this. Okay, so the Rodgers made, as an old lady friend of mine, who is a real friend of mine, and she's, 3 generations ahead of me, which is a little painful because I really adore her and I am not ready for her to be as old as she is.
Sure.
But so, we'll talk every once in a while about the Rodgers, and she gets this funny little thing when she wants to emphasize something. She said, oh, they were moneyed. So she sticks it out. And this is a girl who grew up in like the Poverty Flats area of town. So she said, you can imagine what I thought, we couldn't scrape together.
This is literally
soup.
Sure.
the house up on the hill.
Right. So apparently, Mr. Rodgers and his business partner were the ones who figured out how to can peas. Now, we mainly eat frozen peas these days, but they figured out how to can peas, and it made them rich. To put it in perspective, this house, when they built it in 1916, cost $15,500.
Oh my word.
Right, I know. Doesn't that just blow your mind? The household income for the Rodgers that year was $187,500.
That's insane.
Which was
Whoa.
tremendous. Yeah, I mean, it has a good income today, thank you very much, but
Yes.
it was
That's
tremendous.
huge.
It was huge
Yeah.
money, huge. So apparently once they got moneyed, she told him, I've done 20 years of hard service in this house that doesn't deserve the name. They lived out on their pea farm, their ranch. The house later became the blacksmith shop for the ranch, if that tells you.
Okay.
$1,000, clearly. And she said, I have bought a lot in town where I will be building myself a house where you may join me or not, as you wish. And we have the original plans for the house, the architecture drawings, and it's all Mrs. Rodgers' notes on it.
Ooh.
He didn't care.
Huh?
He didn't care.
He did. Apparently
that's
not.
a Y chromosome thing.
And apparently he was one of those guys that was like, we don't want to look too prosperous, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Until apparently he lived here, at which point was Katie barred the door. And then he just started buying crap
With
all over
staff.
town, which crap. Oh, yes, they had staff.
That's
But
the back stairs.
There was a house right behind this house that they just tore down. Because inconvenient. we want a garden and we want the special stuff. So they just tore it down. You can still see the house in that picture at the very back by the garage. And they just tore it down.
Where they just bought those people out.
Yeah.
So why not? They had FU money. So
And
why
then
not?
past our property line in the back, they owned the entire next block that he bought and created into their sports complex for his grandchild. So they had a little mini football field and they had tennis courts and they had. And then there are this house back there, not this blue one, but the next one, that's kind of Tudor one. They built for one of the daughters and it connects with a little path.
Yeah.
It's very cool. And another daughter, if you are ever driving through town and see something that looks like Rapunzel's castle, but it's pink and Tudor, because it's also pink, was the other daughter's house, which I thought was pretty cool.
Interesting.
And then daughter number 3 lived in this house until she died. She had polio,
Wow.
which is why we have an elevator. another thing where apparently he was like, at some point, didn't care how much money he spent or what it looked like because she got polio and he ripped out the back stairs and the servant stairs and put in an elevator.
Wow.
Yeah. And so it's a really cool elevator too.
This is it like
Is it the little cage?
Yes, it's the little cage.
Is it a hand rope?
No,
It's electric?
It's an electric. Everything in this house was always electric.
Huh.
Which was
Fancy.
very new when they
Yeah.
built it. Yeah, it was
Wow.
very new.
Some people didn't want electricity in their house because you
It's
didn't know
scary.
that stuff could just
It's
explode at
scary,
any
yeah.
minute. Yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to piping through uncompressed natural gas. Yeah, okay.
Back to the gas lights.
Yeah, exactly. Because I wondered, because these light fixtures are so thick, I wondered if they had been converted, but no, they had not. They were just very
wow.
And this is interesting. Also ghostly stuff. Sorry, I'm jumping all over the place.
No, I love
Sick
it.
of me. This candle, these are battery operated.
Right.
This one goes on and off
Sure.
on its own recognizance all the time. Is it on? Is it off? We don't know. Doesn't matter how many times you have the remote and it turned off. I have turned it off at the switch because they have
Yeah.
switches on the bottom.
Oh, right.
Okay, so I have turned it up and now it's dead because it's been running forever. I have turned it off on the switch and it comes on. In fact, it was on right before you got here.
Oh.
Like, okay.
The mind of its
This
I
one,
love it.
this particular, that one sconce there needs, I think, to be